This is the Big Deal Podcast, brought to you and powered by New Covenant Baptist Church in Albertville, Alabama. And on this podcast, we're asking the question, what's the big deal about all things Bible, theology, and culture? I'm Justin.
I'm Brad.
Welcome to the Big Deal.
Welcome.
Welcome to everybody. We're glad y'all are listening.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a new phone this week, everyone.
Ooh.
And it looks different. If you're not usual, if you're a watcher of the podcast, you might notice it looks different.
Yeah,
Like
you'll finally know what we look like.
Yeah, it's high def. I hadn't gotten a new phone in like 5 years. I was like rocking an old school.
Coincidentally,
man.
I got a new phone and hadn't had one in forever.
Yeah. And so it looks. I think it looks better. It's like a different look on the podcast and everything, and it looks like it's got the 2.2 cameras. And it looks like I'm staring at a little owl, doesn't it? You know, it's like the two little eyes there. So today on the podcast, we are getting back into the end time stuff, right? This is episode 7 of the Eternity series, talking about eternal things, last things, eschatology, and the third part of this series on eternity is on the end times and like basically how eternity starts. How does the eternal state start, and when Christ returns and the events surrounding the return of Jesus. And this is episode 3 of that. And so the first episode, we talked about overview, like what's the 30,000 foot view of the end times theology of the Bible. And then last week, we talked about the Old Testament and the relevant passages in the Old Testament that point to the end times, last things. And today, we're going to be looking in the New Testament, okay, skipping all the way to the Gospels, right? And we're going to be looking at Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John specifically, and we'll probably touch a little bit of what Paul talks about for the end times. But mostly, it's going to be what Jesus says about the end times. Do y'all care about what Jesus says about the end times?
I care.
I care too.
Tremendously.
Do you guys care? I hope you care about what Jesus says. And so Jesus addresses the end times. And so, Brad, if you were to look in the New Testament, and specifically the Gospels, where does Jesus ever talk about the end times?
His longest is in Matthew 24. It's called the Olivet Discourse.
Ooh.
So he kind of mentions like judgment and stuff along the way, but his longest, like, here's what's going to happen is Matthew 24. And there's one in Luke too.
And Mark too. Yeah.
But Matthew 24 is the longest.
Yeah, the one in Luke is Luke 21 and Mark 13.
But there's some things in Matthew that are not in Luke, like the abomination that causes desolation
is not in Luke? Okay.
It's not there in Luke.
Yeah.
So if we wanted to pitch ourselves a softball, we'd go to Luke.
Yeah, it'd be easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and the reason they call it the Olivet Discourse is it's very theological, is because they were on the Mount of Olives.
Mount of Olives, yeah. So that's where we're going to start today. Is actually we're not going to start there. We're going to start. We'll look at the other occasional things, kind of like high level view, because they all kind of repeat. There's a series of parables.
Mm-hmm. That's true. He does, yeah.
In the Gospels that Jesus talks about. You might be familiar with some of them. The parable of the wheat and weeds, the net, parable of the talents, sheep and goats. And what you're notice about all those parables, we'll look at one. Let's go to Matthew 13.
The virgins with olive oil.
That's going to be a
lamps.
different idea, but yes, also relevant. So like the parable of the wheat and the weeds is this. It's a short one. I'll read it. He presented another parable to them. This is Matthew 13:24. The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while people were sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and left. When the plant sprouted and produced grain, then the weeds also appeared. The landowner's servants came to him and said, Master, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Then where did the weeds come from? An enemy did this, he told them. So do you want us to go and pull them up? The servants asked him. No, he said. When you pull up the weeds, you might also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At harvest time, I'll tell the reapers, gather the weeds first and tie them in bundles to burn them, but collect the wheat in my barn. And that's like a theme that runs through a lot of the parables of a separation, a great separation that happens at the judgment.
Sheep and goats.
Sheep and goats, right? Sheep on one side, goats on the other. The net is like fish, and all that kind of stuff. And so there's lots of these parables that talk about separation of the wicked and the righteous. And that's probably word for word most of what Jesus talks about, right? In just total word count in eschatology, that's probably it. It's this separation and judgment that's going to take place. You have Matthew 16, judgment by works, right? What's the passage? I'll get there. Matthew 16 verses 27 and 28. You familiar with this one?
I don't remember.
It's when he's talking about taking up your cross. If anyone wants to follow me after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life because of me will find it. For what will it benefit someone if he gains the whole world yet loses his life? Or what will anyone give in exchange for his life? For the Son of Man is going to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will reward each according to what he has done. Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. And so it's like a judgment of works, right? It's also part of it, you know. That's basically what Jesus says about the end times outside of the Olivet Discourse, right there. It's lots of judgments coming, righteous and wicked, they're going to be separated. And then you get to this, I don't know, this moment on the Mount of Olives, and the disciples are asking him, like, Jesus, tell us about...
Yeah, because it's like the, you think the story's almost over, right?
Yeah.
Because Jesus is about to be crucified.
He is, yep.
And it even says that he stopped speaking to them in parables and was speaking to them plainly, and they were amazed.
Yeah.
And what we learn is that Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection is not the end of the story.
Yeah.
The end is coming later. So the expectation for the disciples, you got to realize, is that when Messiah comes, he is going to usher in the kingdom of Messiah, which is the kingdom of David.
Yeah.
David's messianic son is going to sit on the throne forever, and of the increase of his government there will be no end, right? And he'll be wonderful counselor, mighty God, Prince of Peace, and everlasting Father. And they thought, well, here we go.
It's
Jesus is and that's the discourse starts is it now that you're setting up the kingdom?
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Yeah. So in Matthew 24, they're at the temple, going out to the temple. His disciples come in and they call his attention to the temple building, right? And Jesus says to him, "Do you see all these things? Truly I tell you, not one stone will be left here on another that will not be thrown down." And the disciples are thinking, what in the world, right? Tell us, when will these things happen? So they're asking the question, when?
Yeah.
When is that going to happen?
Now, also, the temple that Herod built was one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
It was an incredible structure.
Yeah.
And and I think to this day, one of the foundation stones is the largest stone ever laid in a building ever. So Herod's temple was even more magnificent than Solomon's temple, which in itself was magnificent. And so when Jesus says this massive structure, one stone will not be left standing on top of another, they were like, what?
Yeah, it's the Western stone is it's crazy. 570 tons.
Think about that, dear listener.
45 feet long, 10 feet high, and 11 feet wide. You can go see it still.
Yeah, and 570 tons.
Yes.
So that's, if you want to know how many pounds that is, that's 2,000 times 570.
Yeah.
And they had to move that without modern gas equipment or diesel, and they laid that thing. So you can imagine saying, "Hey, they're gonna pull all those stones down." It's like, what?
Yeah.
How are they going to do that?
Yeah.
They did it.
Yeah. There's think of like a school bus. School bus weighs 7 tons or so, 7.5 tons, and that's like 6 school buses.
Yeah, no, it's way more than 6 school buses.
570?
570. You said a school bus weighs 7 tons?
Oh, wait a second.
You better do math again.
Multiply that.
It's like 70
It's
something.
60, 70 school buses. Yeah,
Yes.
I forgot the zero. I didn't have the
Stack
zero.
on, yeah.
Whoa. That
Yeah.
stone is huge, man.
Huge.
60 to 70 school buses.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
That's a lot. It's humongous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also particularly like it that I did math better than you right
You
there.
did.
That's unusual.
You mathed it up.
Yeah,
man.
I did. You
carry
mathed
the zero.
up.
Yeah, I did.
fixed it.
Mathed up. Yeah. So he's saying like the whole thing's gonna be taken down, and it was.
It was.
In
The
70 AD.
legend is, and we're going to talk a lot about 70 AD because
Yeah.
it's pivotal.
70 AD is a wild year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 70 AD, Israel rebels again against Rome, and Caesar finally gets sick of it, and he sends General Titus in with his army. and they besiege Jerusalem, and it's hellish, and they conquer it, and they burn everything. And the legend is the inside of the temple and the holy place is all covered and plated with gold, right?
Yeah.
So one of the legends, might be myth, we don't really know, is that all that gold melted in the superheat, right? And it went between the cracks in the stone. And them greedy Romans, the reason they took all the stones apart is not just to humiliate them, but they were trying to get that gold.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they were trying to get that gold. And so whether or not that's true, I don't know, but they did. They demolished it.
Yeah.
And I like to tell people this because it's wild. The first picture of a menorah we have from antiquity is not from Israel. It's from Rome.
Oh, wow.
Because when General Titus came back, they made a big, like an Arc de Triomphe like they have in Paris, but they made it I've seen it in Rome. And they did a depiction of Titus coming back from Israel, and there's a Roman soldier carrying a menorah in that.
Wow.
Yeah, from 70 AD.
How about that?
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it is wild.
Yeah.
And so they're asking when that's going to happen. They want, Jesus has been calling.
So Jesus says, with the stones, they're not going to be standing on top of another. And like, when is this happening?
Yeah. And, the Mark one, I think, is actually a little bit different. When he, they said, well, it's the same, no, it's the same thing. Yeah. They're looking at the temple. I thought one of them like set up a little bit differently. Maybe it's all the same. They're looking at the massive stones. They're same thing, and it says, "You see these great buildings; not one stone will be left upon another." And so that's the occasion for this little sermon thing that Jesus teaching that he does on the end times, and it's about these signs.
Yeah, and you got to think that happened within 40 years of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70 AD. Yeah. So let's look at the contents of this Olivet Discourse.
It's a lot, y'all.
It's a lot. It's a little eclectic. It does a lot of different things. So it starts with the signs of the end of the age, right? And so they ask about when these things are going to happen. What is the sign of your coming and of the end of the age is what they say. Because they're figuring stuff out, I guess, about Jesus. Yeah.
And it's interesting, what does an end of an age mean?
Yeah.
And I think of all theologians, Tolkien handles this the best.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What does he say?
Well, in Middle Earth, there are different ages.
Uh-huh.
And each age ends with a kind of apocalyptic event.
Yeah.
So like I can't remember which age is which, but like Morgoth, the big evil bad guy, takes over the world, and then the angels, the Valar, come in and they defeat him, and he gets sealed up, and that's like the end of an age. And the age before Frodo Baggins and all them ended with the last alliance of elves and men when they fought Sauron, and the ring was cut from Sauron's hand. That was the end of that age.
Yeah.
And the end of the final age is when Frodo throws the ring into Mount Doom.
Okay.
Well, actually, he doesn't throw it in there, but it gets in there.
It gets in there.
But yeah, so the end of an age is like a epic ending event.
Yeah.
Something is going to happen, and everything going forward after that will be different.
Yeah.
And so you might say, and I think this is true, the end of one age was the death and resurrection of Jesus.
Yeah.
That's the end of an age, and we were ushered into another age.
The dispensationalists would just call that a dispensation.
Yes, they would.
Yeah.
They would say that.
Yeah.
I would be fine with that. If that's
honestly fine, actually.
That's fine.
It's fun to say. The interesting, this made me think about that. Did you know Middle Earth is a place on Earth?
It used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah.
Meta is middle in Latin. Terra is earth. Middle. It's the sea at the middle of the earth. That's the name of that. And so I always think that's funny. Like when I hear like Mediterranean Sea, it's like it's the Middle Earth Sea, the Sea of Middle Earth.
Yeah. Well, in Tolkien, when that whole battle with there was also a king who decided he was going to invade heaven, sort of go to the Grey Heavens.
Yeah.
And they were sailing ships. They took all the Numenorians. They were going to go in there. And God, Iluvatar, sent a massive flood, wiped them all out, changed the entire structure of the world when he did it. Anyway.
Yeah.
We are getting deep in
that is some
Tolkien
lore
nerd
right
lore.
there. Yeah. So back to Matthew 24, the Olivet Discourse. So here's what Jesus says. Watch out that no one deceives you, For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they will deceive many. You are going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, because these things must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these events are the beginning of labor pains.
Yeah.
All right. So what we did when we were looking at the Old Testament is we kind of like talked about a passage and saw how it was interpreted in the different views.
Man, interpreted sounds like something you tell your family doctor. Man, I've been interpreted lately. I need some medicine.
Get him on a stretcher. It needs to be interpreted now. So dumb. We talked about the different interpretations people have about these passages. And so right off the bat, like you're looking at this passage, rumors of wars, the nations rising up against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famines, earthquakes in various places. Where do the different views fall on that?
I'm not sure if it gets super divergent at this point. I think most people, there's always outliers that say crazy stuff, but like most people just say, this is Jesus saying, don't panic when weird stuff starts happening. Like if you get and this happens every time. World War I, people thought it was the end of the world. People thought Hitler was Antichrist. People thought Saddam Hussein was Antichrist. I know that's hard to believe, but I grew up through it, and people really thought, man, Saddam Hussein is in Iraq, and that's ancient Babylon, and he is going to be the Antichrist. So every time a famine or a pestilence, when the Black Plague hit Europe, they thought, this is it. It's the apocalypse.
Dude, every presidential election we have.
Now it is.
Someone is saying
the
world. Antichrist,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it started really bad with Obama.
Oh, man.
Like when Obama was it's like, there's like, he's from the seas, Hawaii or something. And, And he's wounded. Wait till he gets wounded in his head or something.
Yeah, and then, man, look, that's just.
Then Donald Trump got shot in the ear.
Yeah.
You know?
And all this time, it was just Russians just trying to mess with us.
It was.
They're making up all these memes. They're doing all this stuff, man. North Korea, they're like, just mess with the Americans. They believe everything. But so I think most people at this point would be.
Well, I think it's already you have a difference in timing. Like that's the interpretive difference. Like right off the bat is like one. There's a group that, as they read that one paragraph, rumors of wars, nations against nations, famines, earthquakes. There's a group that's saying that is going to happen in the future. Mm-hmm. And there's a group saying, look what happened before 70 AD.
Yeah.
So already you have like a split in interpretation, and it's the timing of it. It's like, when are those signs right there?
Yeah. Yes. So here's what's going to start happening in this. I'm going to tell you. And this way you can kind of be sympathetic to both sides as you're reading it. I'm not saying both sides are correct, but I'm just trying to get you where they're coming from. For the people who say it's happening then, they would say
back then and before 70
it's
AD.
Before 70 AD.
Yeah.
The people who say this is happening before 70 AD say, look, if this didn't happen before 70 AD, what is the point of telling these people this? Like it sounds like he's talking to Peter and to Thomas and those guys, like, look, here's what's about to happen, guys. Mm-hmm. If he's not talking to them, what is the point of telling them this? Because it's not for them.
So that view is called preterism.
Preterism.
And so that's the view that all of this stuff that Jesus is talking about and the events, most of the events of Revelation, coalesce and happen at the destruction of the temple in 70 AD.
They would say that was the end of the age that Jesus was talking about.
And there's two versions of this, right? We talked about this 2 weeks ago, that there's a full preterism that says the resurrection, return of Christ, all that stuff has already happened.
Yeah, that's the heresy.
And it's heresy. And then there's a partial preterism that says most of the stuff you see in all that discourse happened there.
Yeah.
And so that's one group that's saying these things happened, and Jesus was telling his disciples and the people who are going to immediately follow him after the preaching of Peter and John and all the disciples in Acts, giving them a warning to get out of Dodge whenever these things take
Start
place.
to take place.
You hear the rumors of wars. I'm getting out. Right.
Yeah, you see the abomination of desolation being
That's
set
coming.
up.
Yeah.
So they read it and like, hey, he's trying to help his bros in that moment.
Yeah.
Like the after my crucifixion and resurrection, stuff's gonna happen fast. Get ready. The other people, and you'll see this as we read it, are gonna read this and go, this is too apocalyptic. Like what happened in 70 AD was bad, but what Jesus is talking about seems to be much larger in scope.
And so they're going to be futurists. They're looking at this already, and they see rumors of wars, nations against nation, famines, earthquakes, and they're saying, okay, this is going to be about some worsening time period before Christ comes. And it's not happened yet.
Or he's just saying, they might say, what he's saying is things are going to rock on for actually a long time. There's going to be wars and rumors of wars and lots of stuff going on. So don't panic because we got 2,000 years of this madness of this world going on.
Yeah.
But as he continues, he talks about birth pains, right?
Yeah.
What happens when you have a baby? Birth pangs. They're talking about contractions, right? So contractions, as the baby gets closer, come closer and closer together, right?
Yeah.
And so what the futurist says is, there's going to be wars and rumors of wars and bad stuff, but as the end comes, these birth pains, these contractions are going to be one right after another. Yep. It's going to be like COVID, and then there's going to be a weird election, and there's going to be wars, and there's going to be drone wars, and in Ukraine.
And then you're at the point where you're saying, like, you're predicting the rapture on TikTok.
Yes.
Right? Because that just happened. All of these things just happened, right? And there's like right now, there's like there's a sentiment.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's right now. It's actually always that we're on the precipice right now of Jesus Christ is going to come back within your lifetime. And people have been actually saying that for thousands of years. 2,000 years they've been saying that.
But I will say, if you could put so many people in a shuttle in a time machine and bring them here, they'd be like, oh, no, this is it.
Do you think so? I don't think so.
Well,
I don't think so. You take someone from the Reformation, the wars that happened after the Reformation, they're calling the Pope the Antichrist.
Oh, yeah.
Bad stuff. And you take them, you stick them in Albertville, Alabama, they're going to think they're in heaven.
Yeah. Well, until they saw TikTok.
Yeah. But it's just, I mean, there's so much.
Until you took them to San Francisco.
Maybe.
To the Castro district, and there's dudes naked on leashes and stuff. And they're like, what the heck is going on here, man?
Yeah, I think, but they're the people that are looking at like the news and saying this is the end of the world. Usually, people are looking at the evil, death, and destruction or something, right?
Mm-hmm. But there is some weird stuff going on, though, man.
But my point is that it's always been bad.
Yeah, when you get older, you start thinking it's the worst ever.
Yeah, you've gotten older.
Well, I just look, man. Okay, this is going to jump ahead slightly, but just bear with me. I remember being a kid being taught pre-tribulational, premillennial theology. And they talk about the two prophets. The Bible talks about the two prophets who are going to go around prophesying.
We're going to do that next week.
And they get killed. And the whole world sees it. Okay? This is like 1985, bro.
Yeah.
And they're like, I remember pastors being somewhat confused. Like, how can these guys die and the whole world know about it? That doesn't make any sense at all. Maybe there's going to be like news will be better. It'll be broadcast on news. And then, you get older and you get reels. And I'm like, uh-oh. Like every time I'm like, those guys are crazy. Something comes out and I'm like, oh, well.
Maybe the whole world can know.
Maybe the whole world will know in 5 minutes. I mean, when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, people knew about it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's one of the prophets. I'm just saying that the ability to see big news, everybody's got a phone. And it's going to happen in 2 minutes, man. If something bad happened, like if a big world leader got assassinated today, we would know in 10 minutes.
Yeah, yep, you would,
and you would see it. You would see footage of it.
Yeah.
I
know. Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's what I'm saying when I say
it feels like it's bad.
Well, no, it feels like some things are coming to pass that even in my lifetime were not possible earlier.
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, John Darby gets a hard time. Because,
who is he? Yeah.
He is the guy who helped lay the foundation for the Scofield Bible and dispensationalism, right?
Yeah.
But you got to think, this guy's writing in 1870 something, right, Darby? And he's saying Israel is going to be a country again, and God's going to bring all the Jews back to the promised land, and they're going to rebuild the temple. And in 1870, it's like, this dude's stupid.
Yeah.
And then in 1948, you're like, whoa. All the Jews all of a sudden start going back to Israel. So every time you want to be like, this is crazy, it's like, well, is this like the budding of the olive tree or what's happening here? I mean, I'm telling you, you start, and even in this, as we go through the Olivet Discourse that's in Matthew 24, you want to be an amillennialist because it's so easy. And then you start reading some of this stuff and you're like, oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
As we'll see.
Yeah. So, we'll just set the stage right now. Like as it gets going, there's already a separation happening when it comes to timing, when it takes place already, or it will be in the future. Let's keep on reading. In verse 9, then they will hand you over to be persecuted, and they'll kill you. You will be hated by all nations because of my name. Then many will fall away, betray one another, and hate one another. Many false prophets will rise up and deceive many, because lawlessness will multiply. The love of many will grow cold. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. This good news of the kingdom will be proclaimed in all the world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So there's, I think, another view that might also be developing as you read this. And it's kind of like what we call the idealist view, or I think they call it something else too. There's another name that they go with it.
Post-millennial?
No.
Post-millennial sounds like a rock and roll star.
That's not. This isn't post-millennial. No, this is the idea that the entire age between Christ's death and his ascension is what's being described here.
Yeah.
And so that there isn't any future worsening, and it's not a moment taking place in 70 AD. This is just from 33 AD until Jesus comes back. You should expect wars, rumors of wars, nations against nations, famines, earthquakes. You should expect persecution. You should expect hatred of one another. You should expect false prophets, false teachers. Love of many will grow cold, and the one who endures to the end will be saved.
I actually think that's right.
I think it is too. I think that's like especially when we get into Revelation, which we will do next week. I think you see that this age is characterized by these things Jesus is talking about here.
But one of the big pivotal things he says is that the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all the nations, and then the end will come. And it's really interesting how this gets not just interpreted, but lived out, orthopraxy.
Oh, yeah.
It's the idea that Jesus cannot come back until there are Christians in every nation.
Yeah.
And so some of missions is like, I want people to know Jesus, but some of it's like, I'm just trying to get Jesus back. You know?
That's a weird sentiment people have.
Yeah.
And that is such a bizarre thing. I've heard that before.
But here's the other thing. And it's like, look, we got to evangelize all the nations. And I want to say when. Because it's like we got the, what's it called? The 1040 window on the latitudes between 10 and 40. It's like the most unchristian area. It's like the top of north of Africa and all the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
And there are almost no Christians there because they kill them.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you hop in a time machine and you go to 900 AD, it's all Christian.
All Christian.
All Christian.
Yeah.
So when does it have to be evangelist? All the time?
Yeah.
Because some of those...
Before 900 AD.
Some of those...
Islam was already
some places go from completely evangelist, like the Czech Republic, where everybody used to be a Christian.
Yeah.
And now it's 98% atheist.
You know, Africa is like this. Christianity was all over Africa early on. It went to Africa before it went to Europe.
I got to tell you a secret.
You tell me.
Christianity is pretty much African.
Yeah. Oh,
that's a fact.
Sure.
They preserved it.
Augustine was from Africa.
When people say, I just get crazy for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
When people say that Christianity is the white man's religion, that drives me nuts. It ain't. Augustine of Hippo was an African. Athanasius of Alexandria was an African.
These are like pillars, foundational
pillars of the church.
Yeah.
Hey, look, church came out of Africa, baby.
Yeah, it did. It went to Africa, was preserved in Africa. I mean, theologized.
God sent the rains down in Africa and the theologians. Thank
that's
you.
right. Yeah.
And the Middle East.
Yeah.
And what's funny is the old books will say that Christianity is an Oriental religion.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they considered the Middle East the part of the Orient.
Yeah, that's funny. That's right.
It ain't no white guy's religion.
No, we were late to the party.
We are.
If you didn't know, if you're only listeners, Brad and I are white. So,
What?
What? You didn't know?
Oh, no.
So it goes on.
That explains so much.
It explains so much. So we have a separation happening here, like in interpretation of time. Like, when is this happening? And then also you have the idea that maybe this is just characterizing all of time. And then you get to one of the more important parts of this Olivet Discourse. And this is about what some people call the Great Tribulation. And I'll read it to you. And I'll just read it, and then we can talk about it. So when you see the abomination of desolation, in my Bible, that's like bolded.
All caps.
It's not. Mine's not all caps, but it is.
Mine's
bolded.
all caps.
Yeah, that's funny. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then those in Judea must flee to the mountains. A man on the housetop must not come down to get things out of his house, and a man in the field must not go back to get his coat. Woe to the pregnant woman and nursing mothers in those days. Pray that your escape may not be in winter or on a Sabbath, for at that time there will be great distress, the kind that hasn't taken place from the beginning of the world until now and never will again. Unless those days were cut short, no one would be saved, but those days will be cut short because of the elect. If anyone tells you then, see, here's the Messiah, or over here, do not believe it. For false messiahs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders to lead people astray, if possible, even the elect. Take note, I've told you in advance, so that if they tell you, he's in the wilderness, don't go out, or see, he's in the storerooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the carcass is, there the vultures will gather. What a line that is. Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning of this one. The abomination of desolation. What is that, Brad?
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So first of all, the abomination of desolation, it has various translations. It can be the abomination that causes desolation.
Yeah.
It is a thing. It's not the Antichrist. Yeah. It is a thing.
And desolation, abomination is a pretty clear word. That's like an unholy, like blasphemy.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Desolation is a little bit epic language for English. Like you might only expect something like that in a video game.
Yeah, you think about it. I think to an English person, it's like what's left after a nuclear bomb.
Yeah,
is desolation,
devastation. Yeah. Like destruction is a way to talk about it. Yeah. That's like, and so this is like a blasphemy that causes a destruction. That is
ruin.
Ruin.
It ruins something.
A ruining blasphemy, right?
Yeah, a ruining blasphemy.
That's a good way to talk about it. Important distinction here.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's something an Antichrist or the Antichrist does.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know. You've already bridged a gap here with Antichrist involved.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because there's no Antichrist here. No one has said anything about an Antichrist here, right?
Well,
Jesus
from the context of Daniel.
Even then, it's like there is no Antichrist in Daniel, right? And so at least, here's the thing. If you're going to bridge the gap, instead attribute this to Antichrist, you have to at least acknowledge that you are making an assumption that some characters that are talked about periodically in the Bible are all one person and one thing. And so you're equating the ruler in Daniel that sets up the abomination of desolation with the person called the Antichrist in Revelation and who Jesus talks about here too, right? You're at least summing those things, right, together. And I think like it's just important to realize before you bridge the gap, like I'm doing that, and I'm making an assumption there that Jesus didn't say, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
What are you looking for?
I was thinking First John talked about the Antichrist, or many Antichrists go out into the world, and I can't remember exactly where
It's 2 John 7.
Oh, you looked that up. You had it on.
No, 1 John. It's 1 John. 1 John 2:17.
Yeah.
You see,
many Antichrists appeared.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in Paul, it's like the man of lawlessness or man of sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second Thessalonians.
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a jump that like there is a interpretation that's already taking like growing and developing in that passage when you read. Like I showed up at the text. I flipped my Bible open to Matthew 24, and I see at the top the heading. It says the Great Tribulation. And the words "the Great Tribulation" are never in that passage.
Never.
And so I'm already adding a layer of presupposition and theology to it that's not there.
Yeah. So here's one of the things is, why do we do that?
Yeah.
Like, why do people get so, I don't know about fanatical, but like want to, and I think it's the same reason people listen to serial podcasts about unsolved murders.
Yeah.
Is people want to take the evidence, put it together, and figure it out. We don't like music. We don't like music to go unresolved. Mm-hmm. Like you don't want something to end on a minor note, right?
Yeah,
you need to resolve that thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this feels like a note that needs another note for resolution, and our brains are wired to resolve it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening. Everybody's trying to figure it out because we don't like it that it's not resolved.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And this is just one of those things just to have in mind as you read these passages, that there are conflations happening. Do you know the word Antichrist is never in the book of Revelation?
I believe you.
Yeah.
Because you're my friend.
It's like, it's an assumption. Like if you were to think like Revelation.
That's true. There's like little horn and stuff, but you can make the connection that Antichrist is there. He's just not called that.
Yeah. Like, and we're maybe it is all the same person. Maybe it is. Like, that's fine. But it's not like John didn't have the vocabulary.
Yeah.
He talks about Antichrist.
He talks about Antichrist in 1 John.
Exactly.
We just saw it.
He has the vocabulary, but it's not used in Revelation.
It's somewhat of a head scratcher. It's like every time we start getting something about the end of the world and this man of lawlessness, Paul does this too. And it's like, look out for the man of lawlessness. He's going to come, and I'll talk to you about it when I get there. And it's like, ah!
Yeah, that's right.
Or he'll say, like I told you before.
Yeah. Does Paul ever use the word Antichrist?
I think he just says man of lawlessness.
He does, yeah. He says man of lawlessness. Let me ask Chad.
So some people will say, and I think it's probably true, that the man of lawlessness and Antichrist are the same character.
Yeah. But
here's the thing. So Antichrist is I don't want it to get too mystical, but just stay with me.
Yeah.
Antichrist is a spirit, in the sense that being a Christian is like, we are called Christians because we are little Christs.
Yeah.
That's what Christian means, right?
Yeah.
So we're supposed to be representative of the Spirit of Christ, if you want to say, wherever we go, the Holy Spirit. We represent Christ. Antichrist is anyone who is against Jesus.
Yeah.
So there are many antichrists. Now, maybe one of them might be the most successful anti-spirit of Christ that there's ever been, and that's the man of lawlessness, and that's the Antichrist. Yeah. But we know there were a bunch of them, and there are a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Because anything against Christ that attempts to detract from his gospel, pull away from his person, or keep people in the world, that's Antichrist.
Yeah. That's right. So right off the bat, in this, it starts in verse 15. It's titled "The Great Tribulation." You have abomination of desolation, staying in the holy place.
Mine's titled "Perilous Times."
Perilous. Oh, okay.
It's better.
New American.
Yeah.
Standard Bible. There are layers of assumption being added to the text. The titles aren't in the original.
Yeah.
Greek. That's some we add, and so that describes another level of interpretation. So you have the futurists who are looking at this and they're already calling this the 7-year tribulation period.
Yeah.
Right. They're already saying that, okay, this is the 7-year tribulation
This
period.
is that missing 7 years from the time and half a time.
Yep. The Antichrist is the abomination of desolation.
Yes.
Is doing
He's the main character of the Left Behind series, Nikolai Carpathia.
That's right, Nikolai Carpathia, right. And he's the one creating this blasphemy of destruction, right?
The problem is, or one of the challenges, I don't want to say problem, is that everything written here is future from the time it was written. Because it hadn't happened yet.
Yeah, Jesus was talking about
so
something.
So it was all in the future from Jesus' perspective and the disciples' perspective.
Yeah.
So it's all futurist in that regard. It's all looking ahead, and we're trying to see, well, where did this thing land?
Yeah.
Like when he said this is going to happen, where does it land?
Yeah.
So from Jesus' perspective, everything is in the future.
Yeah.
And what we know is there is an abomination of desolation.
Mm-hmm.
It is going to be set up from Jesus' perspective in the holy place, which it doesn't take a lot of math to realize he's talking about the temple.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And so, and both sides, futurists and preterists, would agree with everything I just said. Mm-hmm. The abomination of desolation will be set up in the temple. Everybody will see it, and that is a signal that a epic ending thing is about to occur.
Yeah.
Right? I think both sides would agree with that. The preterist says, yes, and it happened at 70 AD.
When Titus came in.
When Titus came in and smoked the place. Yep. Or when Antiochus Epiphanes or whatever offered a pig on the altar or whatever.
Yeah. That was before.
It was before. Yeah. But they still do that.
Yeah.
But the futurists will say, no, this has to happen in the future because too much stuff takes place after that didn't happen in 70.
And in order for that to happen, well, there has to be a temple.
And the gospel hadn't been in all the world yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Clearly,
so everything is like pushed to the future. The gospel's got to go out. Israel's going to build their temple back, and see all the
there's challenges to both sides. So the preterists would say, look, all this stuff is happening, or has happened by 70 AD. Why else would he be telling them to run away? Who's he even talking to? And then the futurists push back and say, he said that this can't take place until the gospel of the kingdom is preached in the whole world. And that didn't happen by 70 AD.
Yeah.
And the preterists will go, yeah, it did. It was preached in the known world.
Yeah,
and they'll be like, okay, so all those natives in North America just don't count. I mean, in the jungles of South America, the 7 million people living in North America didn't count. And so it's like, they're like, it's got to be future, bro. And it's like, well, now then they're like, well, maybe it's divided because there's a division in my book between 14 and 15.
Yeah. Well, but there is some in the text how the words work. There is some division. So
there is.
So there's a way to say, hey, in the future things are going to be wonderful and great and joyous, and you're gonna have a great time. I might tell my kids that, right? Like when we go to Disney World, it's gonna be fun, great. You're gonna have a great time, and then I say, but when you clean your room tomorrow, right? Or but when you clean your room, you can earn that privilege, right? And the idea is like, in one paragraph, I've talked about something super future, and now I've talked about something that needs to happen now. In tomorrow to earn that, right?
And even
and it happens here. And so the first section from verses 4 all the way through 14 can be generalized, super generalized.
Well,
and then he says, so when you see the abomination of desolation, so when this happens, you need to get out of town.
And also, how the Olivet Discourse is put together. Some people look at it and say, this was not a straight sermon from Jesus. This is Matthew putting together a lot of stuff Jesus said about the end times.
Yeah.
And it's called the Olivet Discourse.
But
it some of it looks disjointed.
Well, here's the thing. Did Jesus only tell the parable of the sower once?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Did he only ever teach about the destruction of the temple once? Mm-hmm. Chances are no. Chances are he actually said these things a lot. 3 years of teaching, and we have, 100 pages?
Yeah.
No, he taught these things all the time.
And Matthew's writing this from a perspective of after Jesus he had to remember all this stuff.
Yeah,
from years before,
which means he probably heard it multiple times,
a bunch of times.
Yeah, and so it might not have all happened right there. This is
when Jesus was preaching the Olivet Discourse. Unless you think Matthew is sitting there with a papyrus scroll, a papyrus, whichever way you want to say it, and a feather quill, and quoting Jesus exactly at that moment, then this is his recollection of what Jesus said.
Yeah.
It's superintended by the Holy Spirit, right?
For sure.
But he's putting stuff together in his mind.
Yeah.
For us.
And so you shouldn't, the point is you shouldn't look at this and expect like a exact order. So after you hear the wars you hear rumors of wars, after you see a famine and an earthquake and someone got persecuted, then I know I should get out of town because the abomination of desolation is about to show up, and whatever that is, we don't even know what that is. But it's going to happen.
And he even says, let the reader understand.
Yeah, he does.
That is an addition from Matthew. Jesus didn't say that.
That's right. Yeah,
on Olivet Discourse. He didn't, because he wasn't thinking about readers. He was talking to people.
Yeah, there's no writing involved in that discussion. And so here's what I was getting at, though. You have a time of badness, right? And that's coming. The futurist is going to look forward to this in the future. This is talking about some kind of thing from Daniel with 7 years of tribulation. They're going to layer on the bowls, trumpets, and seals of Revelation to this, even though it's not called that. They're not mentioned the same. It's not called the same thing. They're going to say that's what this is. They're going to make the leap there to call this those judgments. And they're going to say, they're also going to insert the Antichrist / man of lawlessness, which they've also layered on top of each other into this. And they're going to say, he's the one doing this, even though it doesn't say that, right? And so my point is this, like we told you how they interpret it, but as someone who, I went there, man, I went to DTS, heard them talk about this stuff over and over and over again in the eschatology, the dispensational premillennial eschatology. And it's shocking how quick and effortless the jumps are made to like layer everything on top of each other and make connections that aren't said. Like Jesus could talk about an Antichrist if he wanted.
Yes, I'm not saying they're wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, there's at least 30% chance they're right. But it very much reminds me of when somebody hears God, it's going to sound terrible. Somebody hears a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And they connect a whole bunch of dots.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, towers can't fall. Plane fuel doesn't get hot enough to melt steel beams. And once they hear that, it's like, oh man! And then they go down in this rabbit hole.
9/11 was
this was these guys and these guys never get together, and it was a false flag operation to
the radiation belt around the Earth. We couldn't get through Van Allen belt.
There's no the world's flat.
Moon landing.
The Suez Canal would drop 10,000 feet from one end to the other, and then the round earthers are like, well, it does actually.
Yeah.
If you walked all the way around the Earth at the equator, your head would travel like 50-something more miles than your feet.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's round.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was weird. All I'm saying is,
it does.
Once you start grabbing these links and you're clicking them together, it looks like it fits.
This is why we're not presenting to you the dispensational view or the amillennial view, the postmillennial view, the premillennial view, because if you do that, you're going to go to this passage, you're going to rip it out and say, hey, so you should expect the abomination of desolation. Things are going to get bad. And it's called the Great Tribulation because this little title that's not even scripture says it is.
Well, what I would like for people to walk away from, I think is the best thing, is to see the gaps in every single one of these. There are gaps that just don't quite make sense. And that is a discomfort that every single one of these endings feel.
I don't think we've gotten to a gap that doesn't make sense yet. What we've gotten to is...
not yet, but we're about to.
Dealing with the passage.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the point I was making is like, there are readers, eschatology readers. People are looking for the Bible through eschatology, end time stuff that are not dealing with what the passage actually says. They're making assumptions and they're reading other passages into this one that's not there. And that's not appropriate. That's not good reading, right? That's not good reading, like reading skills, normal old reading skills. Like, how do you read a book? How do you read a sentence? And you can't redefine words, right? That's like reading 101. And that's what's happening in Matthew 24. The gaps are going to come here in a minute, though, right? For sure.
Well, if they've already got an idea in their brain of what Daniel means, then they're going to superimpose it instantly.
Yeah.
And if you think that the abomination of desolation was not set up yet, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Then you have to have some kind of futurist explanation for what would have to come to pass. Because one thing you have to have is a what.
Yeah.
You have to have a temple.
Yeah.
And so when Titus knocked down the temple in 70 A.D., you don't have to. If the futurist is right, you have zero to worry about right now about the abomination that causes desolation.
Yeah.
No worries, because there's no temple.
Yeah, that's right.
It has to be built.
There has to be a temple. Yeah.
So if that's one of the strengths, I guess, of the preterist position, you'd be like, it's already done, man.
Yeah, it's over.
They knocked it down. And so you can be real happy about that until they nuke the Dome of the Rock and start building back a temple.
Well, I think the preterist view sounds great until you get to verse 29.
Yeah, let's get on there.
Yeah, until you get to verse 29, because this is sequential. This happens right after abomination of desolation, get out of town. It's going to be bad. People are going to die. It's going to be terrible. Verse 29, immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not shed its light. The stars will fall from the sky and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and then all the peoples of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. He will send out his angels with a loud trumpet, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. This is very obviously the return of Jesus, the Son of Man appearing.
And that did not happen in 70
That's
AD.
right. And so this is the big problem. Like, if you want to look at the passage about the abomination of desolation in the holy place and the destruction that came on, that seems like it's coming, it's hard to say this is Jerusalem in the temple in 70 AD. And because verse 29 says, and then Jesus comes back, which didn't happen.
Well, this is one of my favorite end times ironies. Okay. So one of the things the amillennialists will do with the 70 weeks of Daniel, they'll say, you're adding a gap here that's not there. So it all has to
explain the amillennialist thing.
It's the time and times and half a times, which is 70 years. And the dispensationalists will say there are 7 years with the Antichrist or the abomination of desolations, the little horn, that have not yet taken place. And it's separated off from the other 63 weeks. Okay? So you got 63 years. So it's separated off, and there's a gap between those, and they say that's the church age. Well, the amillennialists will look at that, and they'll say, you silly dispensationalists, you've broken apart the 70 weeks. And there's no gap here in the text. You've had to invent it because of your view, right?
Yeah.
This spot here, the partial preterists make the exact same claim that the dispensationalists are making in Daniel. Because what they say is, well, everything happened in 70 AD up to verse 29, and there's a gap.
Yeah.
And at the end, this gap is going to be fulfilled. And the dispensationalists should just look at him and go, oh, so this is not sequential?
Yeah, and
what a shocker!
The big problem, though, is in the first word in verse 29 is eutheos.
Immediately,
it means it's Greek for at once, immediately. Like, you can't get around that.
No,
like there's no wordplay gymnastics. Whatever abomination of desolation is, whatever that is, whatever holy place is, whatever is happening in Judea, and where people need to flee and get out of town. Right after that is the return of Jesus,
and it ain't no secret.
Yep, and it's not. Yeah, that's right.
So Justin.
Yeah.
Does that mean we have to have a temple?
I don't know. I don't know, but because there are levels to this that are
levels.
All right, so we'll say the premillennial dispensational view is they're waiting on a temple to be built. For a world leader, some person, Antichrist person, to blaspheme it in some way to make the abomination of desolation, that signals the end and which would lead to Jesus Christ coming back. That's what the dispensational premillennial is waiting for. The preterist, who is usually a non-millennialist, partial preterist, who's a non-millennialist, are saying this happened in 70 AD, and we're going to insert a big gap here. It's because it has to be there in verse 29, even though it says immediately, Jesus is going to come back in the future sometime. Mm-hmm. There's another view, though, that says, again, this is talking about a time period, an idealist time period. Is there only one holy place? No, in Christ, it's the church. And so they're waiting for some sort of apostasy, some sort of like, or this rule that, this idea that people, there are those who call themselves a Christians that are not
Antichrist.
Right? That are Antichrist.
I think the last one is the least likely.
Yeah. But I'm just setting it up. There are people who are looking at this and saying, okay, this is
metaphorical.
This is like a thing that's happening all the time, where you have apostasy, people who appear good, but yet there's a blasphemy sitting right there among them, and you need to get out of there. There's another group, though, that says the first part of the passages that was talking about rumors of wars, kingdom against kingdom, all that kind of stuff, that's the age, and there is a particular bad moment coming in the future. And this is some amillennialists say are here.
Yeah, they would be partial preterists.
Yeah.
So they see a gap between 28 and 29.
But this is like an amillennialist who's saying that this is okay to happen in the future. The abomination of desolation stuff to happen in the future. And so it's not even, they're not saying this happened in 70, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, well, those guys are practically historical premillennialists. They just won't.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that a historical premillennialist looks at this and they say things are progressively getting worse as you advance to the coming of Christ. And there are amillennialists who say the exact same thing.
Yes.
Things are going to get worse and worse and worse. And so they're not trying to be preterists.
Well, it's, I don't want to be too negative to my Dispy brethren and these other guys. They mean worse and worse and worse in the sense that the opposition to the church will incline. Yeah. But they would also say things are getting better and better and better because more and more and more people are getting saved.
Yeah.
And more people are becoming Christians, which makes the enemy oppose us more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's this complete failure of the church. It is the church is going to advance and the enemy's going to bow up. Yeah, is what's happening.
And the world is groaning and like you have these natural disasters involved, earthquakes and famine and stuff like that.
So like you might, the more you think about it, so it's like when I was a kid. Again, these guys, they were saying, as the end of the world draws near, wickedness will abound more in the church, and the separation between the church and the world will become more and more obvious.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in that, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah.
I mean, we got people.
I think we still don't feel that nearly to the degree that the early church felt it, though.
Maybe not.
I mean, just
when there's
you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, Tolstoy talked about this. I think it was Tolstoy. Who got kicked out of Russia and had to go live in Siberia.
Uh-huh.
And he said, they were asking him about how horrible it was in Siberia. It was so terrible. Have you ever read those stories?
No.
Like they were out there in these camps and it was like 40 below zero and dudes were freezing to death, starving to death. And they dug up this like perfect fish fossil that had in the middle of Siberia. They'd probably been there a million years and they were just all fascinated and amazed by it. And they promptly ate it. Okay,
they ate the fossil?
They ate it was a fish. It was preserved. Kind of like finding a woolly mammoth.
Well, it wasn't a fossil then.
It wasn't really a fossil, but it was because it was really, really old.
Okay.
But it had just been preserved in the permafrost.
It's rock.
Yeah, it wasn't rock.
Yeah.
So they found a preserved thing and they ate it.
Uh-huh.
And so they were like, well, what was it like? And his quote was something like this. He was like, a man who's sitting warm in his office cannot relate to the guy freezing in Siberia, even if he's the same man.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I don't know what it was like anymore.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the middle of persecution, if you're living in China and you're at Secret Church and the police come and kick in your door and they start shooting people, you could be like, this is the worst thing ever. And it is it doesn't get any worse than that for you. Yeah. I mean, you can't get any worse than everybody getting killed and tortured, right? Like those Christians in Nigeria whose church got firebombed and their babies died in there, and they came and they're praising the Lord the next Sunday. I mean, what's the Antichrist going to do to them that's any worse than what just happened to them?
That's right, yeah.
The first century church thought they were living through it. Some of them.
Yeah.
There were probably some dudes in like a rural area where everybody was loving the Lord.
Yeah, what you said was like that the opposition to the church was going to grow and grow and grow, and like it's never been as bad as it is now. It's like, but I think like probably the early church certainly just surrounded by pagans.
Yeah.
And underwent like, a lot of persecution.
But all I'm saying is though, there are things that happen in our world today that a first century pagan would be like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, y'all doing what?
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. But related to persecution, you think?
No, I'm just talking about
different.
I'm talking about the proliferation of wickedness and the obviousness between the church and the world. It's just like we're doing stuff now. It's like, are you being serious?
Yeah, the evil in the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, so that's what you got. You have like 4 views going on already in this all that discourse. The Dispies are saying this is all going to be a future thing. You should layer on Antichrist, beast, all that kind of stuff. The partial preterists are saying this all happened a long time ago. There's amillennials who and historical premillennials who are saying this is just an evidence of things getting worse, and this is a moment that's going to happen in the future. But it's not the same as what the dispensationalists are saying. Let's move on. You have immediately, verse 29, after the distress of those days, Jesus comes back. Everyone agrees about Jesus coming back. Okay, there's nothing really to talk about with the different views on Jesus coming back, except with one exception, that how many times does Jesus come back?
Yeah.
Right? That's the question, because there are 2 views on this. Now you have the dispensationalists who say Jesus is coming back once to rapture the church, and then there's going to be this 7-year tribulation, and then you have everyone else who's saying he's only coming back once.
Yeah, well,
when he comes back,
there are some dispensationalists who say he comes back once. Those strange post-trib tribe.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah,
what even is post?
It's a.
They're historic premillennialists almost, basically.
They are, but the distinction in Israel and stuff like that.
I'm not even sure they call themselves that anymore, though. Like I think post-tribulation
means the church will be here through the whole tribulation.
After the tribulation, I don't think they call themselves dispensationalists. I think they call themselves historic premillennialists now.
Do they? They just finally made the jump.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what the position is.
Well, you have to call yourself a post-tribulational premillennialist to work at DTS. So that's what those historic...
No, you're not allowed. Oh, no. There are no post-trib.
There are none? You can't be a historical premillennialist and
work
at DTS?
Heck no.
Really?
You have to be dispensational, man.
What?
Yeah. At least you have to be able to sign off on the document.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's no post. Yeah. It's very clear.
They don't have any covenantalists at Dallas?
No. No, wait a second. Hey, there are, but don't tell nobody.
Tell those guys to man up.
Yeah, I don't think it's about that. I think it's about why fuss about this kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially when my salary's at stake.
Yeah, I don't know. These aren't folks that you would be worrying about that.
There are professors out there got money.
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, this is not necessarily money.
There's a secret room at Dallas where they have smoking jackets and pipes, and they have a secret knock on the door, and they talk about. Look at the little pops. They're like, I think covenantalism is where it's at.
Yeah. It's not about them having money. It's just about them they'd have another opportunity somewhere else very quickly and easily because they're good. Anyways, you have this Jesus is coming back, and when does he come back, right? And that's where this diverges. Notice there's nothing about a rapture here. There's nothing about like people being taken up. And what I mean is the secret rapture.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Well, here's the thing. No, I don't actually have to be careful. This annoys the crap out of me so much. This is my soapbox, everyone. when there's only one type of rapture worth talking about.
Yeah.
All right. And there's only one rapture worth talking about, and that's the secret rapture. Because some people will say everyone believes that there's a rapture, because all that means is you go to 1 Thessalonians 4.
You're caught up.
You're caught up.
Caught up.
Now, here's the thing.
In the air. Snatched away. It means snatched.
You don't have to talk about it then, right? The only rapture worth talking about is the only rapture anyone means, and it is the secret rapture. If you mention rapture to the general public of Christians, evangelical Christians, no one is thinking, oh, this moment where I just go meet Jesus real quick. They're not talking about that. They're talking about left behind being taken.
If you say this is how crazy the world is, give me your hand. I'm gonna help you off your soapbox. If you say secret rapture, half the people that believe in a secret rapture are like, what are you talking about?
They think it's just the rapture. That's why I say I don't have to define it as a secret
there is
rapture.
a rapture though. We are going to get snatched away.
I don't believe it.
He's going to sit there. You do believe it.
I don't care.
You think we're going up in the air.
I don't care what Jesus does when I come back or when he comes back.
I'm not flying up there.
I'll go up there if he wants.
He said you was going to. You're going to be caught up together in the air.
We're going to talk about it in a minute. We get to 1 Thessalonians. My point though is that that's not even a category.
You dispensationalists have really wrecked my friend over here. Look how agitated he is.
It just bothers me so much, man. Should we just go to that passage?
Look, no. So here's
there more
31.
to talk about in here?
So we'll talk about it in Thessalonians. You'll recognize it in verse 31.
Yeah.
And he will send forth his angels with a great trumpet. Paul talks about that in Thessalonians. The trumpet of God. Michael, archangel, will descend with a shout. And the trumpet of God. And they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. Yeah. And so we're going into the sky, man. That's the rapture.
He will gather
it's not a secret, though.
From the end of the
sky. Because over
together.
here he said, hang on, don't let me mess up. Verse 27, for just as lightning comes from the east and flashes even to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. It's not a secret. You'll see it.
Yeah. So there's no secret. There's no you watch Left Behind movies and everyone there's one of them they're on an airplane
and it wrecks.
Yeah,
or almost wrecks.
Or he was a pilot, right? And you have people disappearing from their cars
and their clothes are there.
Yeah, their clothes. That's right.
Did the fillings fall out of their mouth?
Yeah,
I mean Jesus.
And everyone they're trying to figure out on the news what happened to all these people. Some sort of radioactive thing or whatever. It's insanity, right?
Dude, listen. Look, we have talked about this so much as Christians for the past 150 years easily.
Yeah.
If a rapture like that happened, every lost person in the United States would know exactly what happened.
Exactly.
They would not be tricked. They would be like, Jesus got those people. Yeah. They would know instantly what happened.
Everyone would know. The point is, there is the idea that it could happen without everyone knowing Jesus has showed up is insanity. Yeah. Because it says everyone hears this. And let's go to the passage in 1 Thessalonians.
Oh, he's incensed.
Yeah, I'm incensed now. Chapter 4, starting in verse, I guess we can start at verse 13. We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, concerning those who are asleep, so that you will not grieve like the rest who have no hope. He's talking about they're worried about people who've died, right? Are they going to get the resurrection? Are they going to be with Christ when he returns?
Well, yeah, they don't know.
They don't know. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again in the same way through Jesus, God will bring with him those who have fallen asleep. That's a euphemism for death.
Yes.
For we say this to you by a word from the Lord. We who are still alive at the Lord's coming will certainly not precede those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout. And with a shout, okay, with the archangel's voice, with the trumpet of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. Then we who are still alive, who are left, will be caught up together with him in the
clouds. Up. Is it harpazo?
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah. Have you ever heard of rapturo?
No.
Oh my God, I'll tell you a story about this one. To meet the Lord in the air, and we will always be with the Lord. Therefore, encourage one another. Man, it's loud. right? Like this.
Well, I mean, even here it says that verse 30 of Matthew 24, the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming. And in Revelation, it says, and every eye will see him.
Yeah, every eye. Here's the thing, like there's no the idea of the left behind. We don't know what happened. They all just disappear. That's not right. They'll never happen like that. But my
you
point
know
about why?
Behold, he comes.
Yeah, Jesus
riding
coming back
on the clouds.
But
yeah, man, we're gonna see him.
Here's why, though.
And by the way, the clouds. It's not talking about a cumulonimbus cloud or whatever the things are called. It's talking about the cloud of God's glory that like followed the pillar of smoke or the cloud of glory that fell in the temple. Yeah. It means he's coming in God's glory, not like he's surfing on a puffy cloud.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of scary.
Yeah. It's not like Dragon Ball Z or whatever, Goku, right? Did you ever watch that?
No.
It was a show on when I was a kid.
I mean, I did see
Dragon Ball people, Z. They know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
He rides clouds?
He rides a cloud, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus it's talking about the cloud of God's glory.
Yeah.
Like the Shekinah glory of God. Shekinah.
Yeah. All right. He goes on, and there's some stuff that he talks about. There's a fig tree, parable of the fig tree. Now, look,
if you just had, you had was that Thessalonians passage, you would read that and say, oh, well, there's coming a time when Jesus is going to come back that day. It's going to be a big trumpet. We're going to go up in the air right after the bodies, and we're going to be, because he says we're going to be with Jesus forever and ever. You'd think it's over.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
There would be none of this speculation about abominations of desolations and Antichrist in 7 years and all that stuff. If you just camp there in Thessalonians and be still.
In Matthew and in Thessalonians, you put them together, all it says, Jesus comes back and his people are saved with him. They are with him. That's all it says. If you're expecting to if you're expecting tribulation to follow that, why in the world did the tribulation in Matthew 24 come before the return of the Son of Man? Right? You see what I'm saying? Like, what is this? Where the layers are getting conflated here, in adding things from different passages all over the Bible. Take the passage for what it says. It says things are getting bad in Judea, right? Jesus comes back. And then you take all the other places where it talks about Jesus coming back, and all you get is that the church is going to meet him, and they're going to be with him. And you don't get anything else other than that. Like, Jesus comes back. Right?
We got to read the rest because this is interesting. Chapter 5 of Thessalonians, he says, then we who are alive and remain will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so we shall always be with the Lord. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. Now, listen to this. Now, as to the times and the epochs, brethren, you have no need of anything to be written to you. For you yourselves know full well that the day of the Lord will come just like a thief in the night. When they're saying peace and safety, then destruction will come upon them suddenly, like labor pains upon a woman with a child, and they will not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, and the day should overtake you like a thief. For you are all sons of light and sons of day. We are not night nor of darkness. So then let us not sleep as others do, but let us be alert and sober. And he's going to go on and say, basically, live like Christians and in a dark world, be a light in a dark world. But he says, my favorite, at the time in epochs, brethren, we don't have to talk about this. Like it doesn't matter. Just be ready. Is pretty much what he's saying. Just be ready. It doesn't matter. Like, don't get too caught up in this. Don't get too raptured in this.
Hey, don't get too raptured.
Caught up. Harpazo.
I got you.
A rapture. The word for rapture, harpazo, means to snatch quickly. Like grabbing something out of a fire. And I think that's accurate. It says it's going to be like a thief in the night. It's going to happen suddenly. Now, these are some reasons why I have problems with dispensational view. Can you just lay it out now?
Lay it out.
Okay. One is if the pre-trib rapture, premillennial rapture is correct, it's not going to be a surprise. There is no thief in the night. Like, you will go Nikolai Carpathia is taking over the world, and he's in the temple.
They
and
built the temple.
Yeah,
he's headed there on a plane, and
Yeah,
he's going to unite all the world religions.
If all that
in the
happens,
temple, right?
and I'm here, I'm gonna get in my car. I'm gonna play. It's the final countdown because you got 7 years and it's over. We're done.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna endure anything for 7 years. You'd think. The other thing is Jesus says about the end times at the Lord's Supper. Mm-hmm. He says, "I will not partake of the fruit of the vine again until you're all with me in heaven."
Yeah.
Right. So Jesus is abstaining from from grape juice, at least, you Baptists. And he's waiting, and he likes it.
Yeah.
And he's up there, and he's waiting until all of his faithful are gathered home. What do we call it when they're all home with him? What's that time called in Revelation?
When they're all home?
When everybody's home and he drinks wine again. What do we call that?
The marriage supper of the Lamb.
Marriage supper of the Lamb. Now, if you are a pre-trib, premillennial, Left Behind series reader, believer, that means the church is taken out of the world at the first of the 7 years. Boop, they're gone. They're in heaven. And what are they doing there?
I guess drinking wine with Jesus.
They're having the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, there is still a church on earth because people are being saved, right? All those folks, the heroes of the Left Behind series, are all being saved. They're missing the marriage supper of the Lamb. And you have a church on earth for 7 years. They're like, the church won't be here for 7 years. And you're like, well, what about those people that got saved? Are they the church or not?
Yeah.
And if the answer is yes, then the minute somebody gets saved in the 7 years tribulation, they ought to be snatched away to heaven to enjoy the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Yeah.
Jesus ain't drinking till everybody's home.
Yeah.
And so these are...
Yeah. The other bit with that is with this time of tribulation. So say you're a dispensational premillennialist, you're going to look at this and you're going to say, okay, this probably doesn't talk about the rapture at all. Actually, this is the rapture. There's a gap in here where the rapture happens. The people go up, and then
the great Thessalonians.
No, in Matthew 24.
Oh, yeah.
And then this great tribulation comes up, the abomination of desolation, and all that kind of stuff. 7 years. Then verse 29 and so on. Jesus comes back. It's like the huge problem is the presence of the elect in all of this. Mm-hmm. Like over and over again, all the persecution that's happening.
Yeah, it says here that nobody would live. It's so bad.
Yeah.
But those days are shortened. Why?
Because of the elect.
Yes. So the elect are there.
Yeah. They're not removed from this. They're not removed from bad things happening on the earth. Now, here's what the dispensationalists would say after that. They would say, how could you say that God's people would have to endure his wrath on the world? That's what they're going to say.
Yeah.
You're going to say, why do you think that they do?
Yeah.
Like, why do you think that trials in this world, like bad things happen in this world, is God's wrath on them? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Or just ask me the question.
Hey. Why? What question?
Why would God?
Why would God allow Christians to endure 7 years of wrath?
Yeah, I don't know, but it says right here that during that great tribulation that nobody would survive, but the days are cut short for the sake of the elect, which means they're there. So just take it up with God.
Yeah,
take it up with God. I mean, they're there. He's not. He's let the. If you want to go there, he's let the Antichrist run amok, and they're suffering for their faith. Just like, I mean, William Tyndale and other Christian martyrs. Mm-hmm. Some dude's out there burning to death on a stake, and he's like, "Well, at least we won't see the bad stuff."
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
come on, dude.
What age, like, what world do you live in? Like, bad things have been happening to Christians since Jesus left.
Dude,
and they're going to continue to happen. Yes.
This week, I know people that got arrested in South Asia for preaching the gospel. There was a church in Nigeria that got firebombed this week, man. They had to bury their kids. And it's like... I just, if I could make memes and cartoons of this stuff, it'd be like some poor Nigerian Christian family that loves Jesus burying their babies because the Islamists burnt their church down. They're like, well, at least we don't have to go through the tribulation.
Yeah, that is a tribulation, man. That is it. This is it. Jesus says over and over again, they're going to hate you. They're going to come after you. They're going to kill you. And what do you see in Revelation happening? We're going to see it next week. We're going to read it. I promise you next week that's exactly what happens.
And that's why the only defensible position is historical premill. I mean, historical, premill.
There's some room for amillennials.
They call it in the old days. They call it like chiliest. It's like CHIALIST.
I think it's supposed to be a cuss sound, like with Christ.
Anyway, it's a very old. Some of the early church fathers believed in the 1,000-year reign of Jesus.
A lot of them did.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. We'll get there when we get to the millennium. I guess the point,
but none of them talked about a secret rapture.
None of them. Not a single one talked about a secret rapture.
No.
Which is the same as saying the rapture. Like, hear me out. Like, it is. No one cares about talking about
if you
when
just
Jesus
mean
comes back.
That the rapture is when Jesus comes back, we shoot up in there and meet him. I'm fine. If you think that means that we're going to get secretly taken out and nobody's going to notice, I think that's insane.
Yeah, that's right. And let's go to the Thessalonian passage.
But even in their own books, like even in the Left Behind series, they talk about the graves being busted open, people's clothes left behind, cars wrecking, all this crazy stuff. And then they have to extrapolate that, they did see all that stuff, but they explained it away. I'm like, dude, give me a break. The Antichrist's in a great delusion on their brains.
Even with the rapture, like the idea of us going up to the sky and coming back down, I'm not entirely convinced that is literal either, though.
I'm convinced. It talks about it being in the air too many times.
You can. That's fine. It talks about being in the air because Jesus is coming from there.
Yeah.
But the idea of people going out to like welcome Jesus like the king and come back to earth and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that's in there too. Like, and so there's the idea of like if King was coming to town and you would go out and parade him in.
Like they did in Jerusalem.
With
the coats and
like they did in
Baruch haba Hashem
Adonai.
That's blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord.
In every single city, like when a ruler came in, period.
It's like a ticker tape
parade. Guys, if Donald Trump was coming to Albertville, there would be a parade, a procession.
It'd be a different reception than Chicago, but I mean,
yeah, it would, it certainly would. My point is though, is that's what you would expect, and so I'm not even hung up on like even the literalness of like us going.
Well,
up
it is interesting because like he's coming back with the saints, but yet they're coming up out of the ground too. So it's like this marriage of their
I know it.
Imperishable body. What am I trying to say here, dude? When we get our
incorruptible
bodies, we're getting new bodies.
Yeah, the glorified.
So there's the glorified body. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
I've lost
1
all
Corinthians
my theology.
15.
Yeah, so he's coming back with the saints, and yet they're coming up from the graves.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? Why are they coming with him, or are they coming out of the grave?
This is the resurrection. Is what it is. That's what this is. That there will be some, and the whole point is in the resurrection, the return of Christ is the resurrection. It happens at the same time. That's what this is. Points
like lightning.
You like lightning
from the sky.
But there are people who haven't died yet.
Yeah.
Right when this happens, and so what happens with them? Right. That's like what this is answering. Like we know the dead are going to be raised. What happens with the people who have not died when the Lord returns?
I'm going to be looking for you.
They're still getting a new body.
Yeah, they are. I'm going to be looking for you because I'm going to have my Superman pose on. We're going. Yeah. And I hope Jesus, because they're riding horses too.
My point is like, I'm fine with this being like figurative language to talk about this glorious moment. Because the point isn't us going into the sky.
Well, here's what I'll say to you, buddy.
You get that? The point isn't us going to the sky.
I say, of the epochs and times, brothers, we don't have to write about this. Yeah. It's like, here's the thing. Okay, if you're like so lost in the weeds, you're about to wreck your car right now, let me just tell you what Paul said. Hey, man, just live your Christian life. Tell folks about Jesus. Shine like lights in darkness, and don't sweat it too much.
For sure.
Golly, man.
Definitely no secret rapture, though.
I'm a little bit partial preterist.
Hey, here's more about why there's no secret rapture. Go look at Matthew 24, more of the Olivet Discourse 36. Okay. Now concerning
the day and the hour.
The day and the hour, no one knows. Neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, Jesus, except the Father alone.
Yeah.
As the days of
the Son
Noah.
of Man. Yeah, he don't know.
Yeah. As the days of Noah were, so the coming of the Son of Man will be. So we got Noah. All right, set that up. For in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day Noah boarded the ark. They didn't know until the flood came and swept them all away. This is the way the coming of the Son of Man will be. Then 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding grain with a hand mill. One will be taken, one left. Therefore, be alert, since you don't know what day your Lord is coming. But know this, if the homeowner had known that time the thief was coming, he would have stayed alert and not let his house be broken into. This is why you are also to be ready, because the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. This is where Left Behind comes from.
It's great fan fiction, though.
Right.
You got to admit, it's exciting.
So the idea is that the people who are taken are
Christians.
The Christians, and the ones left behind are
lost.
Not. They're lost. But the big problem is, like, the analog in the passage is Noah, right?
Yeah.
And
so the ones left behind are the Christians.
Yeah. Who is swept away and taken away from this earth?
It's the bad guys.
It's the bad guys.
Yeah.
And who's left behind on the earth? It's Noah.
Even
and his
he wasn't
family.
Really a good guy, but he was.
But I mean, he was the righteous. He was righteous, right?
He got
and
drunk
so the dispensational rapture view has like completely misread that passage.
Yeah.
The people who are left behind.
It's exactly like
Christians.
we talked about in Daniel, where they're looking at the one who makes the covenant, and the dispensational says that's the Antichrist, and the covenantal says that's Jesus,
and
ushering in the new covenant.
This is why I think the 1 Thessalonians 4 passage might be figurative, because the earth is the destination, a new earth. Like, Christ is coming down, the wicked are swept away, and the dead are raised. There's new bodies, new earth, new heaven here.
Hey, but how about this, man?
Yeah.
Not about the in the air. I don't care. I mean, I care a little bit just because it makes you mad, and that the big brother in me. But like, the angels are gonna come get us.
Yeah.
So like, if we're here, dude, like an angel gonna show up at your house and be like, "Hey, Justin,
I don't know.
it's time to go," and you'll be like, "Oh," but don't be scared, man. I'm gonna flip out.
I don't know. Like, I think it's like,
because he says that. He says the angels will go into the world
what kind?
and gather
what
his
do they
elect.
look like? You
I don't know.
Like, will you even be able to see them? Who knows?
I don't know. Are we just gonna start flying around? I don't know, man.
Yeah, you mostly don't see them. So I don't, like, you don't.
I don't know that I've ever seen
them.
one.
Yeah.
What's gonna be weird though is if I get to heaven and I did see some. Like, there were people I met on the subway or something, and I was like, "Hey, man, you dropped your pencil." And he's like, "Thanks, buddy." And he was like an angel. I didn't even know it.
That's right.
Entertaining angels unaware. Who did that? Entertaining angels by the light of my TV screen. Who was that?
I blind my TV screen.
Yeah, that's an old song. "Host of heaven, sing over me." Who did that song?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Okay.
It's a good song. I don't know that it's a good song because a lot of my 80s Christian contemporary music is a little bit cheesy and didn't age well. But at the time, dude, it was bangers like DC Talk. We were like, whoa.
So let's sum it up so far.
There's too much. Let's sum up.
Eschatology.
Every time you say eschatology, I think of The Last Crusade. Have I told you this? Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
Okay.
There's this part where Sean Connery gets mad with Indiana Jones, and he yells, "You call this archaeology?"
Yeah. Do I sound like that when I say
No,
eschatology?
I just think eschatology. I always want to yell, "You call this eschatology?" I hear you say it in my head every time I think of it.
That's a great movie.
It is, but but he's right. It's kind of like poking at the Indiana Jones is not an archaeologist. He is a grave robber.
He's a grave robber.
He's a grave robber. He is a greedy grave robber. That you watch how an archaeologist works. I mean, they're digging in the dirt with paintbrushes, brethren, so that they won't disturb anything, and they carefully catalog everything. And
Indiana Jones pulls his whip out and slaps it.
He's like, he doesn't catalog this. In the very first one when he goes in there and he gets that little golden idol. He doesn't catalog any of the booby traps, where he's at. He doesn't write stuff down, how long it's been there, how these people managed to make an idol of pure gold with this level of intricacy, and because there are a bunch of natives out there shooting blow darts, right? It's like, how did they do this?
He stole it from them.
He's like, I'm just going to take it home. I'm just going in here and take it. Yeah.
That's funny. All right, so let's sum it up. eschatology in the Gospels, in Paul's letters, everything up to Revelation. So far, what we really have is there's a great separation that Jesus is talking about, judgment that's going to happen between the righteous and the wicked, those who are in Christ and those who are not. And you have some teaching about the final moments leading up to that. And there's some interpretive differences. You have some preterists saying most of that stuff that Jesus talks about in Matthew 24, all of that discourse have already happened. But it seems like the more fair view says a lot of this stuff does have to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Because it culminates with the coming of Christ, which hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So Jesus is coming back, and this is going to be a moment of judgment. When Jesus returns, there's also going to be a resurrection, right?
Yeah.
There's a resurrection of the dead.
I just thought of something else Jesus said.
What?
You know, he talks about, he says, there are places, this is what makes these things difficult. There are places where it's like, it's a thief in the night, buddy.
Yeah.
You're not going to know. Not even Jesus knows.
Yeah.
And then he also says, hey, you ought to know, because when the fig tree starts putting out leaves, you know the figs are coming. So you ought to know when the end's coming, but you ain't going to know when it's coming, but you ought to know when the end's coming. You know, and then he says, 24:34, truly I say to you, in the middle of this discourse, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Does that mean Jesus came back for that generation? In that case, you're full preterist. It's like, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Yeah. I mean, I think the generation has to be meaning the age, talking about the age.
Yeah, like
it's
an epoch.
Yeah.
E-P-O-C-H. Did you say epoch? How do you call that? Epoch?
Yeah, it's epic. Yeah.
Epic?
An epic. Yeah.
Not E-P-I-C, but E-P-O-C-H.
That's epic. Yeah, it's different. We're different.
A lot of times I say stuff the same, and it drives me crazy when I'm trying to text with Siri.
You think it's epoch, really?
Epic. No, I don't know. It's epoch.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually don't know.
I think
it's one of those
epic.
words I only ever read.
But I don't say epic. Epic. It ain't very much different.
I don't know.
And I know that's true because
if you know, you can let us know. In the
you
comments.
don't know how bad you speak English until you try to dictate something to Siri.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you look at it and it's like, well, technically,
I just don't do it.
That's what I said.
I don't talk to Siri.
Oh, sometimes when I'm driving, if somebody will text and she'll read it to me, and she'll say, "Hey, do you want to text back?" And I'm like, "Yes," and I'll say words, and she says, "This is what I'm going to send to you," and I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" Because that is not
that's not what I said.
I'm like, "Don't send that." Yeah.
So you have the return of Christ, judgment, resurrection involved, and a living with God, living with Christ. That's what you have so far. Mm-hmm. There's things left out. There's things you don't find out until Revelation. You get Revelation. We'll talk about that next week. But also what you don't have is you don't have the map that you might be expecting at this point.
No.
You don't have so Antichrist is only used in the Johns, okay, in the epistles of John. That word is only used in the epistles of John.
Which word? I'm sorry.
Antichrist.
Oh yeah.
And so it's rarely used.
Yeah.
And it's not used by the other writers. In Paul only talks about a man of lawlessness in 2 Thessalonians, which is, he could have said Antichrist. He knew John, right? He like they were all in the same sphere. Jesus never calls them Antichrist or man of lawlessness, never talks about either one of them. And so you don't have something, you don't have beasts, mark of beast yet. You don't have anything like that. That's Revelation talk. But even in Revelation, you still don't have Antichrist or man of lawlessness. So there's some things that you might be searching for, thinking like, surely Jesus would have said something about. He didn't say that about. He didn't talk about that in his teaching in the Gospels. Paul didn't talk about those things in his letters to the churches. What they did talk about over and over again was that Jesus is coming back.
Yeah. Well, Jesus. If I could sum up something to make friends out of dispensationalists and preterists and everybody, partial preterists and everybody, it is. I would say the main thrust of Jesus' teaching is don't be tricked by false messiahs. You will suffer here. Things are going to be bad. Bad things are going to happen to you and others, but I am going to return. And when I return, I will judge this whole earth. That is going to happen. So just hang in there. Don't be tricked. Don't despair. There's a lot of bad stuff coming, but
and be alert.
Be alert.
Yeah.
And it's like, I told you this stuff was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you don't know when I'm going to come back, so don't slack off.
Yeah. Yeah. That's almost all the be alert stuff, and is pertaining to religious laziness.
Yeah,
it is. It's like religious self-righteousness and
backsliding.
Backslide. It's like it is. It's like that's who he's talking about. He's
keep
talking
your zeal.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Revelation, I have this against you that you've lost your first love.
Yeah.
Yeah. These kinds of things. It's like, hey, this is we're running a marathon race here, and there's no walking.
Yeah. That's right. All right. I guess that's all we can do for that. Next week we're gonna do Revelation.
Next week we're gonna do Revelation. I'm gonna get him fired up again about rapture. I'm just gonna.
It's not there. You don't have to.
I'm gonna keep saying it over.
There is
and over.
no rapture in Revelation.
Yeah, but the church isn't mentioned again after chapter 5.
Oh yeah, it is, man.
It doesn't say church.
Every time we get, it says elect. It says the elect.
Oh well, people who are dispensationalists say, "I love you," man. They start getting upset when you even say elect. Because the next thing you're going to say is predestination, and they're going to have an apoplexy.
A ton of them are Calvinists.
I know.
Tons of them.
I know.
All of them at DTS are Calvinists. All of them.
MacArthur.
Yeah, MacArthur's Calvinist. Anyway, it was. God rest his soul.
Oh, man, he's having a time.
He's doing good.
He's fine.
He's doing good now.
So he's up there, and Jesus said, "You should have listened to R.C. Sproul, your buddy. He's here. He's looking for you."
Everyone, I hope you hung out for that show. Golly, that was a mess. We were everywhere.
No, it was pretty solid. You just, you kind of, you went off there a little bit.
Did I go off?
It was fun, though. It was entertaining.
I got
he
on a
crashed
soapbox
out, as the
once.
people said. He has to crash out every time you see rapture. He's like, rapture, rapture, rapture.
Golly.
You're like a cat with a laser pointer, man.
We bounced around everywhere, but in our defense, there's
all
so
the
many
discourse bounces around.
It is, and there are so many presuppositions people are making, expectations they have on the text that you have to rabbit trail. So I hope you guys stuck with it. If you didn't, and you're like, "What in the world?" You let us know, and we'll do it again. We'll figure out how to make this more organized. All right, thank you guys so much for listening to the Big Deal Podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
See ya.